All right, welcome back, everyone. It's lovely to see you all back again. Let's go straight into the superpower state. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state, however you do that, either by repeating your word or phrase, or focusing in on your anchor, or by homing in on your subject and everything you love and appreciate about them. And start to feel your heart opening, that expansion feeling in your chest as that light shines out from your heart. Very good. Now allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. Very good job. And now allow that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each little cell just for existing. Feel that love and appreciation for each one. Very good. And now allow that light or energy to fill the little you, yourself as a child. Loving that little child just for existing. And imagining that little you being filled with that power, that light, that energy, that power. Good job. And then allowing that light or energy to overflow from that little you and fill your whole childhood. Shining that light into any darkness there may be. Loving it all exactly as it is. That's where your power is. Good job. And then allowing that light or energy to fill each person who's on the call today, all those who are on camera, all those who are off camera. Love each one just for existing. Very good, and allowing yourself to receive the love from everyone else. Good job. All right. You can open your eyes if you have them closed. And before I check in with everyone today, I have something very important to share with everybody. And there's a few reasons for sharing this. And it's a little bit long. I'm going to give you the details because I think that, I don't know which bits are going to help who. So, so I'm going to share it all. So as you know, Steve and I are very open and, honest about our own experiences, our own challenges, and how we handle them and how we overcome them. So yesterday, I found myself feeling not great, not my usual self. So I'm usually very upbeat, very excited, very happy with life. And I was feeling like a little bit strange, a little bit despondent. And I said to Steve, I'm not sure what's going on. I feel like a background sadness, but I don't know what it's about. And I, of course, use what we teach. So I could go into the superpower state, but it didn't seem to change that, whatever that was in the background. And I tried, I thought, I don't actually, now I know enough to take a step back, to not force myself to do anything. So I thought, well, I'm not going to do any work. I'm not going to try and, deal with communications that I need to answer and that kind of thing. I'm just going to take a step back and figure out what do I feel like doing? What feels good to do? And, I couldn't think of anything. I was like, watch some comedy. I did, but I didn't feel like it. It wasn't what I felt like doing. Play a game, that wasn't it. I thought it was pouring with rain outside. Otherwise, I would have gone for a walk. And none of the sort of hobbies or activities I felt like doing. So I was just observing, just watching it and observing and continuing to go into the superpower state and love the feeling, whatever it was, wherever it came from. And so I went to sleep last night, and when I woke up this morning, it was a bit better, but it was still there. I thought, I don't have that spark that I usually feel. Like I don't feel excited about writing anything or communicating with people, or I don't feel excited about anything really. I don't feel inspired or motivated, which is my normal state. And so I just continued to observe, and I'm just trying to think of the order in which it happened. I think that was it. And then Steve was talking with me. I was explaining it to him and saying, you know, I'm not sure what it is. And I knew that, so I checked, when did it start? When did I first notice it? And it was yesterday. After our session here, I received an email regarding a rental property that we're selling. And in that email, I had sent an email saying, I'm going to be very honest and straightforward with you and open. This is the bottom line that we can take, you know, that we can accept for it because of the things that need to be covered. And if we can't get that, then we'll just keep the property. And the person had replied to me yesterday saying, how about this? And wanting to negotiate meeting in the middle between what they wanted to pay and what I'd said is our very bottom line. And that's normal, you know, that's just business. And so there was no reason for me to be triggered by that. In addition to that, they'd asked a whole lot of questions that I needed to find out about the property to let them know. And I thought it was that. So I'd said to Steve, it feels like overwhelm. So when I think of answering those questions, I feel overwhelmed. And I feel overwhelmed by other things that I need to get done to do with our business. And so that's very odd because I no longer experience that. And I checked my childhood and I've changed all of the memories of being overwhelmed by homework and that kind of thing. I checked, yeah, that's all changed. That's all new. So I said love to the overwhelm. And then Steve said something that made me, that really made the penny drop. Because he said, so if they had agreed to the price, answering the questions wouldn't be a problem. And in that instant, as he said, if they'd agreed to that price, I felt that lift. And I realized, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem, you know, I wouldn't be overwhelmed by the questions. It was the fact that they didn't accept the price. And then I found the feeling, and it's so exciting when you find it, because then you can change it. It was not being believed. And so I had said, this is absolutely the bottom line. And they had come back and said, what about this? And so, as I say, in business dealings and as adults, there's nothing wrong with that. All I needed to do was reply and say, yeah, no, I appreciate that you have to, you know, make sure it works for you. But for us, this really is the bottom line. But what had happened was the child in me, so that part of me, that doesn't understand that, and that has references for not being believed. And that's where it went back to. It went to not being believed as a child. And so when I was a child, I lied. And whatever this, and I don't have specific memories, but I do know that my mother was very disappointed and disgusted. And there was a whole thing about being a liar. And it meant that when I was trying to be, you know, get a point across or say something and not being believed, that was a big thing that stuck in my head as a big dangerous thing. So it was being recreated in this situation. So as I was telling Steve about this, what, you know, that sort of realization, as I was telling him, I was imagining new memories. And so I did a stepping stone. In fact, I didn't do the stepping stone first. I just imagined new memories of everybody believing me and my mom smiling, going, yes, you know, and it wasn't a scene. It wasn't words. It was just a feeling and perhaps my mum's happy face, but it was the feeling of I'm believed. I don't have to prove anything. And then I went and did a stepping stone. So I felt a little shift there. Then I did a stepping stone that I think really made the difference. And it was my mum saying to me, so I've lied, and she's saying to me, don't worry, sweetheart, you know, sometimes in life we have to lie. There are times when it's necessary. But the good thing is you don't need to. There's no need to lie. It's okay. And so she was okay with it. And that was the stepping stone that made the difference. And I cannot describe the difference in what happened inside me. So suddenly I got my spark back and I was feeling great. And I went to the email and I thought, well, you know, it's easy to answer that. I don't feel any issues. I'm happy, you know, I'll say to them, look, this is the bottom line. And if you find that doesn't work for you, that's okay. But then I won't be answering all the questions because there's no need to do that. And that felt great. So the point I want to make is we all go through challenges. So when you change the memories and you change, you know, you become, you reach master with the superpower and all of that, and things change, it doesn't mean that you won't still have challenges. What it means is that you'll be able to overcome them very quickly, because being human, life is challenge. You know, there are challenges. That's just part of the experience. And it's like if you're doing physical exercise. So you get fit, but it doesn't mean that your muscles won't still hurt sometimes. It's just that you'll recover more quickly. And it's about not buying into it. So in the past, before I did this work, I would have been very triggered. I would have been unable to see from a distance. I wouldn't have been able to find the reference. I would have bought into the fact that they're asking me these questions and I don't know what to do, and who knows what kinds of responses I would have given to that person and what decisions I would have made. Those would have all been affected by how I was feeling. I wouldn't have been able to be strategic and reasonable and logical, number one. And number two, so it's like when you've got that anything that doesn't feel good, it's about not buying into the feeling and giving it meaning, like, oh, well, now I'm sad and this is, you know, there's something wrong. And then your mind starts looking for reasons. So I could have found a whole lot of reasons, but I stepped back and went, it's just chemicals. And so we then take a step back, take a break. So like when you do new physical exercise, your muscles hurt. You know that that's going to happen. And so instead of calling an ambulance, you just go, okay, so I'll just rest my muscles, allow them to recover, and then I will go and do that exercise again. I will, you know, make them strong. That's part of getting stronger, and this is the same. So I hope that helps. Steve, have I left anything out? I know.
Yeah, the one important little bit or insight that you had that I thought would be helpful as well, that when you were doing self-development work earlier, and you either noticed whoever you were studying had issues or problems, it sort of like gave you that feeling like, oh, well, this doesn't work, or...
Yes, thank you for reminding me about that. Yes, so that's another reason I'm sharing this, is because I know, yeah, when I was looking for solutions and, you know, following people, teachers and that, and when I became aware that somebody I was listening to or learning from had an issue, had a challenge, I felt so despondent, because I thought, well, if they have a problem, then I've got no chance. But that's the difference, is that, yes, they have a problem, but they know how to handle it, and it's quick. So instead of it being a mountain, it's a bump in the road. You're driving along, you've done all this work. It doesn't mean there aren't any more bumps. It's just that they're bumps rather than mountains or even hills. So that's very crucial. And so that's about expectations. And that's why I'm sharing this, is so that it's not like, you know, you'll never experience any issues. So it's that you'll experience issues and it's easy to overcome them. It's really not a problem once you've developed those skills. And the other piece that I remember you saying from this morning, Steve, is that so I was able to change those memories very quickly as I was talking. As I was saying, when I was a child, the lying, and that as I was doing that, I was seeing my mother, seeing those new memories immediately and feeling the feeling of the new memories. And so you won't necessarily always be able to do that, or maybe not at all. It depends on where you are in your progress. And for me, it's because I live mostly in the state of unconditional love that it's quick and easy to change those memories. So the more you do this work, the easier it'll get. And some may be more difficult than others, but what you're aiming for is to be able to just imagine them differently. There's no reason to hold on to them. There's no reason to play a whole full scene with details. You can do it as quickly as you want to do it. So hopefully that helps and inspires. And I just cannot tell you just how different. I mean, I'm used to this, but I'm still fascinated by the difference in that spark. I feel elevated. I feel, and that happened before I had my happy coffee this morning. So it was definitely that shift in those memories that made the difference. All right. So hopefully that helps. Of course, feel free to ask questions and ask for clarification on any of that. We're very open and happy to share. So first up on my screen today, Lisa.
Oh, hi there. How are you doing? Oh, guess what? Guess what I got today? Ooh.
Oh, fantastic.
It came in the mail and it was delicious reading, and I'm still reading it. And I got it last night, but I read it to my my cousin while she's in the hospital bed sleeping. She's in Northern California right now. I'm in Southern California.
Okay.
Anyway, it's so good. I was like, I couldn't put it down. I fell asleep with it on my chest.
Oh, lovely to hear. I'm so glad. Thank you.
I love in it how you have the phrase, look how much I love myself. Mm-hmm. And I noticed I've been saying, love is everywhere you look, inside and out. That's what I've been saying, my mantra this whole time. So that goes along with it, because then you find heart-shaped leaves and heart-shaped everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really wonderful book, and everybody should get it. Bye.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. So those who are in the Superpower course, you will have an ebook copy of that in your Superpower course. So
that's really nice. So yeah, that's it. I wanted to say you have some very powerful tools for on a global scale, because everybody needs to do this stuff.
Yes, the challenge is getting it out there, getting it in front of people. So all sharing is very much appreciated.
I keep sharing and sharing. So
much. And I'll just very quickly explain that little phrase that you've just mentioned, so that it can help others in the meantime as well. So that, look how much I love myself. I don't know if I've shared it in these sessions at all, but it's about the fact that we are born with love for ourselves. That's who we are. That's, so when it's a little chapter that I called, you don't have to love yourself. And you don't have to love yourself because you already do. We just it's trained out of us and conditioned out of us. But if you start paying attention to how much in your life is good, even, you may not have what you want, there may be things you don't want, but there are certain things, if you start paying attention, there are more things that are good for you than are bad for you. It's natural to focus in on the danger, on the things that are negative, because that's our survival mechanism. But if you start thinking, I have electricity, I have water, I have this, that, and the other, but not just that. And here's why this phrase is so powerful. It's because it's recognizing that you created and attracted the good stuff for you. So this is the magic pill, what I call the magic pill. So it's, so you start looking at things and going, look how much I love myself. that I allow myself to have electricity. Look how much I love myself that I have clothes, that I am able to, that I have the internet, that I come to these sessions. Look how much I love myself. And it works on two levels. Number one, that you are so powerful that you're able, that you've created this. And number two, how worthy you must be to able to deserve that love from you. So hopefully that helps. There's more to it, which is explained in the book, but that's the basic. And if you just start going about your day, like I remember going to the supermarket in Gloucester, and there was one loaf left of my favorite bread. And I went, look how much I love myself. It's just that. And green lights, you know, traffic lights, driving along a green light, look how much I love myself. And it feels very weird to begin with, but it picks up momentum and it gets stronger and stronger. And of course, you're putting those feel-good chemicals into your system as well. Thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing.
Yes, it's having it all the time, that energy. Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Thank you so much. I love it. I love all you do. Thank you.
Yes, and we appreciate you too.
Thank you.
All right. And Katrina. Hi, Katrina. How are you today?
Yes, Odille. I really don't know how to answer that. So,
okay.
Were you listening in a little bit with Steve was working? You didn't hear it, did you?
No, not today.
Why not, Odille?
I was busy responding to messages.
Well, I don't really know what way to go with this. So, long story short, we were going to be talking about my teeth. And anyway, so we ended up with the memory, and Steve said, how about working on this? And that was, went to boarding school, looking forward to reuniting with my friend. And she says, no, because you're a year above or a year below. You know, she's second year, I was only first year. But I thought we had worked on this.
Yes, we did. It's ringing a bell, definitely.
Yes. So Steve has sort of thrown me off onto the ditch because I don't know what I'm supposed to be talking about.
All right. So let's just break it. Oops, I've lost you. Oh, here we go. My screen went funny. Okay. So let's just break it down a little bit and find out what's at the core. So first of all, tell me about your teeth. What's the problem with your teeth? What made you want to address that issue?
Because I don't like it when I actually see, sometimes the camera has frozen and you can see the space in the front teeth.
Okay.
So when I see that, I judge and I criticize and I go, oh God. And so when I was at boarding school, I always had a hand over the mouth. Right. And I would stutter and all this kind of stuff.
You stuttered?
And the way stuttered, yeah. And the mantra for that first year at boarding school was I had no confidence, no friends, no sisters, no mother, as I never confided in her. Everybody else had everything I wanted. I was jealous and I was insecure. So all day, this 11-year-old, up until Steve got working with me, was very upset, and she really needed my attention so badly. Right. So we have comforted her, as now I'm able to talk. Before all day, I couldn't have talked. I was tears. So to make everybody go hooray to Steve.
Great, thank you for sharing that. And okay, good. So Katrina, well done for number one, sharing this. It's wonderful that you share. And number two, for what you've done so far. So what does it mean to you about your teeth? The gap. What does the gap mean? What's wrong with the gap? So there are some famous people that have a gap in their teeth.
I know, I just don't like it. I've never liked anyone else with a gap. Or not that I didn't like them, I never liked the gap. Yes. It's the gap, I think, takes away from them.
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
They would look prettier if they hadn't got the gap. They would look nicer.
How do you know? And if you
just
don't know
by looking. I just know by looking. In my opinion, I think, you know, somebody with a gap and somebody who hasn't. Yeah, you're prettier.
Everyone had a gap.
Maybe.
If everyone had a gap, if that's just the way we were as humans, it wouldn't matter, would it? Because you wouldn't know any different.
Okay.
Okay, so that's just a logical thing there. Okay, so let's look at the memory of going to boarding school. So your friend, first of all, let's just check that memory. So when you think of going to boarding school and your friend, what's there? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Let's see if the new memory's there or if there's still anything from the old memory.
No, I think she's there and Charmaine's there. Lisa's there with the unicorn.
Good, good, good. All right. So that new memory is still established and solid. So now let's go to the part where you said it got very emotional. So you used to put your hand over your mouth, you stuttered. So that was the first I've heard of a stutter, and that's a big piece. So you stuttered, and you didn't have any friends or sisters or a mother. Okay. So let's have a look at those pieces bit by bit. The stutter, was that stutter there all the time? What kind of a stutter, and what were your experiences with stuttering? Did it start at a particular time, or had you always had it that you can remember?
It's probably when the teachers, the nuns, were asking me something, and it was because I was so insecure and not confident, and then asking me something that, God, you know.
Yes.
You know, the question, I don't know how to answer a question.
Okay. And what was their reaction, the nuns, what was their reaction when you stuttered?
I don't, they probably waited, or it's okay, or something.
Okay. So there wasn't anything that comes to mind there. Okay. And so tell me your earliest bad memory of being asked a question. If you have one, if you don't, that's okay.
No, there's nothing popping up at this moment.
And that's okay. No. Very good. All right. So let's create new memories of you being asked a question. We'll do that in a minute. So first of all, let's give you some sisters. What would it have been like to have, and who would you choose to be your sisters? And would it be one sister or more than one? If you could wave a magic wand, what would you give that little you in the way of sisters?
Well, the conscious mind's probably getting in the way here. I'm so angry that I had no one. You know, there was no friends, there was no nothing to talk to. Yes. I just cried the whole time, and then stopped crying, and then whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. So let's start with the yeah, I'm just trying to think because there's several different places to go here. Okay, so the crying, we want to change that, but let's go earlier. So I know what I want to say is that you may need to do a due justice for the anger. Let that little you have a go. Let her get everything out about having no one to talk to, having no one that she can confide in. She's all alone, whatever that is, get that out in a due justice letter, okay? And then let's go back. Now, if you had a very close bond with your mum, would you have wanted sisters as well? Or would
probably not? No.
Okay, so then we don't need to create sisters. So what would, let's pretend you can, we're just imagining, pretend you can wave a magic wand, and what would the relationship with your mum have looked like? would you have gone to boarding school? And if not, what would you have done? What would life have been like instead? And perhaps you did go to boarding school, but you still had that relationship with your mother. What would that relationship look like? Or have felt like, rather?
It's just if I was in doubt or I wanted to, this happened, that happened, mummy, and then but there was none of that. There was
yes. So stop after. So stop before there was none of that. So, and I'm saying this not just for you, but for everybody else. As you answer that question, what would it have been like if it was wonderful, if it was perfect? Allow yourself immediately to start imagining it. So this is what I did this morning. So it didn't matter that, you know, I was blamed and nobody believed me and all that. We know that that's the original, but as I'm saying it, so I was never believed, I wasn't that. My brain is automatically, I'm allowing it to create new memories, just very quickly imagining my mum smiling and going, it's okay, sweetheart. Yes, we believe you. So what you want to do here is so you were starting to say what it would have been like. So mum, this happened, and your mum being completely focused on you, supportive, oh, sweetheart, asking questions and reassuring and all of that. Create that straight away without needing to say, but that's not, or without needing to think about the fact that it wasn't like that. That we know that we don't have to fire those neurons anymore. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, yes.
Any resistance to that?
Yep. No, I want to go straight to that.
Good, good, good. And that's what's, so thank you for this wonderful example. That's what I really want to get across to everyone, is that there's no reason to take the scenic route with these things. You can go straight to the final memory, straight to perfection, to the ideal situation. And then if you find that other stuff is coming up, you can address that, but you don't need the old stuff anymore for any reason. It doesn't need to be processed. If it needs processing, it'll come up. All right. So establish those new memories with your mum. If you need to do the due justice, of course, do that. Make sure that you have lots of new memories, all the perfect things. So you and your mum spending time together, doing fun things, mother-daughter stuff, and your mum listening to you. And now you can add, in addition to that, you telling your friends, I'm very lucky. I can always talk to my mum. She's always there for me, whatever that would look like. So, and perhaps your friends saying, I wish my mum was like yours. So the way you used to feel about the others having everything, you want to switch that round. They feel that about you now.
Mm.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, fantastic.
Good, good, good.
Yep.
Very good. And then, so that's probably more, it was more about your mum than it was about having friends and about your friend at boarding school. So then just make sure that that's still established and add more friends. So you've got that special friend, absolutely. And then add that you've got lots of friends. You're the center of all social situations. And in fact, your friends come to you for advice, and you confide in each other as well as but you've always got that foundation of your mum.
Mm. That's very comforting.
Yes, good. And so then, and I'm saying this for everyone else, then it's about allowing yourself to have that. Do justice if you need to, but then allowing yourself to daydream those new memories and enjoy them. Fully get into them. Sound good, Katrina?
Yeah.
Good.
Perfect.
Good.
Yes. Yeah.
Yay. And any other questions or need for clarification?
No, that's perfect.
Very good. And thank you so much for sharing that. And Monika. Hi, Monika. How are you?
Hello. Hi, Odille. Thank you. Today I'm fine. I have a question I don't know quite how to handle. it was a situation I watched. There was my daughter, my younger daughter Bettina, and her little baby Matilda, and she couldn't walk. She was crawling at this age, and we were with some people. They were sitting around in a circle, and there was a man with a dog. Mm-hmm. And this dog was lying there and quiet, and all was fine. And then Matilda, my little grandchild, was crawling to the dog. Mm-hmm. And short before she was there, she wanted to touch him. My daughter ran to her and took her away. Mm-hmm. Because she said afterwards to me, I don't know what the dog is doing. Yeah. They were sitting there, and this man was doing nothing. He didn't say it's okay or not. They were only sitting there and looking, and yes, and so she rescued her baby. Yes. But from this time on, Matilda is in fear for dogs.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yes.
All right. So, sorry, you've got more to say?
No, I don't know. I want to change it for me. I watched it, I looked at it, and it's for me heavy.
So what is it about that situation? Because obviously Matilda was saved, so she's okay. So what is it about that experience that really sticks with you?
I don't know, perhaps the fear of my daughter.
Yes.
That I looked at her and saw how she is anxious, and perhaps also I was not, I didn't agree with her.
Okay.
And all the people around, when she took her away, they all were doing like this, because they all didn't want her to take her away. Yes, all were thinking there is no reason to take her away like this, like she did. And
very good. Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. So what's wrong with her taking her away like that? What's the problem with it?
It's like Matilda holding back to experience.
Right. So it's keeping experiencing something. Very good. Okay. So, and now that feeling of being held back from experiencing something, what does that feel like?
Yes, like I'm abgeschnitten from life. I'm cut from life.
Very good. And so now, where in your childhood did you experience that from life?
Okay. Okay.
Got something?
No, not yet. No.
Okay. So as a child, being prevented from experiencing life or new experiences, or being prevented from enjoying things, anything there?
Yes, perhaps from girlfriens, where my uncle he thought they are not good enough for me.
Okay.
And I was not allowed to play with them again. Yes.
Very good. That could do it. So, so it's an interesting theme, because we've just spoken to Katrina. Katrina's thing was having girlfriends as well. So that's an interesting theme there. So do you see how that, although it's nothing to do with dogs, and it's not to do with the same kind of fear, it's that prevented from doing something enjoyable, beneficial, or experiencing life. So that's great. Okay. So you want to recreate those memories where not only are you allowed to have friends, but your uncle, your whole family welcomes them. Yes, bring your friends over, and you host parties and pajama parties. Everybody's very open and loving, your friends as well as to you. Does that sound good? And sometimes
yes.
on outings, like perhaps your whole family goes to Disney World, and they say, bring your friends. Bring a friend, one friend or a few friends, whatever you want.
Okay, thank you. And the situation with my daughter, there I have to do nothing?
So you can do that, but do the early memories first. Do your childhood first, because that's
okay.
For it all. So what you want to get to is that you're not giving meaning to it. So, you know, the fact that your daughter took Matilda away from the dog, an interpretation of that is just she was frightened, and rather be on the safe side, you know, rather take the child away and it didn't need to than the other way around.
Yes.
So see it that way, so that you're not giving it the meaning, but the meaning is coming from your childhood. The meaning is not to do with the situation with the dog. So once you've changed those memories, so you're never held back. So as you're changing those memories of having friends, having girlfriends, then notice if there's any other ways you were held back from enjoying or from doing something lovely, something that you wanted to do, and change those as well. And once you think, right, that my childhood feels free now, it feels like I was always free to enjoy experiences and that, then you can come back to the situation with your daughter and then notice if there's any difference in the feelings. Feelings are there, and then once you've checked that and you brought the feelings down, then you can just change that memory, and it should change very quickly once there aren't any resources for it, to where she did go up to the dog and pet the dog, and everything was fine, and everyone was, isn't that cute, you know.
Okay, thank you very much, Odille. Yes.
You're very, very welcome, Monika, and well done.
Thank you.
All right, and Swasti. Hi, Swasti. How are you today? I nearly said good morning, but I know it's afternoon there.
I'm a little confused. So yesterday I wrote a due justice letter to whoever it may concern, and so it was like directed to different people at different points. I like found out that I wanted to be free, and like, so I wrote, I want to be free like you, like this cousin one. I want to have life easy like you, and I want to be able to speak out like my sister.
Right.
And then I thought, okay, so the career path I'm choosing, that's not very free, because I'm not being able to speak out, and things felt very fake over the past like few days, like I was lying to myself, and then that led to even more confusion. I was like, oh, okay, now I don't know what to do.
Yes. Okay. So were you able to, after writing that letter, were you able to change memories so that you now do have things easy and you are able to speak out as a child?
No. I mean, I haven't tried to change them.
You haven't done that yet. Okay. So that's the first step. So whatever you choose for your career path, along with all the other decisions you make, is to be determined by those memories, by your childhood memories. So you want to make sure that your childhood supports the experience you want to have now, regardless of what you decide to do with the career or other. So you want to go, I want to feel like this.
Yeah.
Whatever I do in life, I want to feel like this, and now make sure that your childhood supports that.
Okay.
So create memories of examples of you being free as a child, and having the qualities that you wanted from the others, being able to speak out like your sister, being able to be confident and have life easy like your cousin, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Create new memories of examples. So for example, you can see yourself speaking out in class or speaking out to your parents and them respecting you. So make sure that reaction is, what do you think, Swasti? And that kind of thing. And you're speaking and they're listening and they're, interested in what you have to say, all of that. So you've got respect, love, you feel safe, you feel confident. Not just that you feel safe, you know you're safe. You know.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
And so put a bookmark, put a pin in the decisions for now. So you'll make the decisions, but you're not going to make the decisions until you've established this foundation, and know that once those references are established and they match what you want to experience, decisions will be natural, automatic, and authentic.
Yeah.
Because they will be based on that, rather than based on what, contradicting what's there, and but I want this, but that's, who I am, and all of that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
You're very...
Yeah, but I've been struggling with like changing memories fast enough and like keeping up with the memories that come up. So whatever comes up, I will try and change that, but then those take priority, and then there are the previous ones left behind. I'm just like, so stressful.
Okay, so when you change a memory, so pick one of those that's left behind. You got one? One of the ones you have on your list that you need to change.
Yeah, just people thinking I'm stupid.
Thinking you're stupid?
Yeah.
Okay, you got a memory for that?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. And so, do you want to tell us what it is, or do we do it no content? Either way is okay.
No, it's fine. I think it's just my parents and like teachers and children at school saying, like, you're not smart, you're stupid.
Okay. So, any emotions in it right now when you think of it?
Just like a little bit.
Okay, so go into your superpower state. So whatever subject you use, imagine holding them in your arms in a hug. Go straight into that. Feel the love and the light and the connection. You got it? Very good. Good job, Swasti. What's your favorite color?
Well, I use white for the superpower.
Nice. So focusing on that beautiful white. And feel the feeling of that white. You got it? Good job. Press pause on that. Let's go back to the stupid memories. And any emotions left?
No, it's just a visual of like people pointing.
Great. So now, instead of them pointing, what are they doing? Let's make it fun. They could be doing the hand jive. They could be...
you know that thing where they go like hailing you?
Like that?
Yeah.
Just change that memory.
Okay.
Now it's
I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be, I guess.
And you're not alone. It's a natural thing to do. But and thank you for this, because it'll help to demonstrate for others as well. It doesn't need to take long. It can be as quickly as that. And if there's no emotions, and the more you do it, there won't be emotions, you just imagine it differently. And as you are saying, they're calling me stupid, you can immediately imagine that, and that's it changed. And it seems too simple and quick to be true.
Yeah.
That we have a process and a production of it, but actually it can be that easy. Now, some won't be as easy if there's more emotions in that, but generally the more you do it, the quicker it gets and the easier it gets.
Some of them are quite easy, but some of them more obviously like the foundation ones. Yes. About parents and
yes. And so as you decide to change a memory, and I'm saying this for everybody as well, as you make that decision, okay, I'm going to change this memory, make the decision that it's as simple as imagining it differently. Remind yourself it can be easy and quick. It may not be, depending on what's there, but it can be. Give yourself permission to just imagine it differently.
Okay.
All right. And Steve, you want to say something?
No, when you're finished here, I've got a couple of other questions.
Okay, I thought you were waiting to say something. So Swasti, was there anything else, or was that the main?
No, that's a major relief and helpful. Thank you.
Yay, good for you. Well done, sweetheart, and thank you for sharing that, love.
Thank you.
All right, and so Steve, a couple of things you said.
Yeah, I got a couple of great questions that I think will help a lot of other people here. So what if the state you're in is caused by your own fault? For example, stealing and lying or bullying, as in you're the bully. and feeling the shame and the sadness from it. It feels wrong to just change it. What would you advise? And what do you do when you cringe from the past faults or mistakes? It sometimes paralyzes me, even though I know it isn't that bad.
Yes. Okay. Very, very good. So, so first of all, there's a few different ways of approaching this, and it'll depend on the details. So I would need to ask more questions for that. But the overview is, where did you learn it was wrong? So let's take one thing at a time. So lying or stealing. What's your first memory of that? And how did you learn it? How did you learn this was wrong? Because we're not born knowing that lying and stealing is wrong. So you learned it somewhere. So if you have, and if you don't, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to be vulnerable again and share, because I know that it helps other people. And because I've changed all of this, I can do it, is that I stole as a child. Not a lot, but I stole a couple of times. And I felt horrible about it. So, and as an adult, it ate me up, and it was affecting a lot of the way I behaved, because I was so paranoid about people thinking that I'm a criminal. So, and here's one thing, most children take something that's not theirs at some point. It's just part of becoming a human. And so, but depending on the experience will depend on whether they continue or they don't, or how they, and so on. So I went to my first memory that I could remember, and there may have been something before that, but the first memory I remembered was when I went to school. All the other kids had watches. They wore watches, and I didn't have a watch, and I'd asked for a watch, and I couldn't have one. And so I took my grandmother's watch and wore it at school. I had every intention of putting it back, but I wanted to wear a watch for the day. And here's what happened. When I got home, my grandmother discovered she'd been looking everywhere for her watch, and she found that I had it. And she was so hurt that it destroyed, my heart broke. I felt terrible. I felt like an absolute monster. She was, how could you do that? And because I trusted you and all of that. Now, I still stole later as well, but that changed something in me. So what I did was I went to that memory first. I did a stepping stone memory where I went to school. I took the watch, went to school, came back, and she went, "Oh, Odille, you could have just asked me. It's okay. You can use my watch. You don't need to take it." So she handled it very differently. That's the stepping stone. So there wasn't that horror. And then the final thing, of course, was I got my own watch, and they gave me a watch, and I went to school wearing my watch, and it was all fine. So with lying and stealing, changing the original, whatever it may not be the original, but the earliest one you can remember, the earliest experience of that, how you learned it was wrong. Change it to a stepping stone where they react reasonably and it's okay. And then the final memory is you didn't do the thing in the first place. That's that. Now, bullying, same kind of thing. So here's the thing is, it's about forgiving ourselves. It's about coming to realizing and remembering that the reason we do anything is because of previous experiences. So if you bullied someone else, it's because you had references that were driving that behavior. It's because you had emotional pain, perhaps, however you were treated, whatever that is, there was good reason, not good reason as in, it should happen, but there was sufficient and powerful reasoning for you to do that, and it's automatic. So if you were to give me some more information, I could give you more details, but that's the basic thing. And then it's about going back, and you could do a stepping stone where you apologize to the person, or where you catch yourself. So you're about to do whatever it is that you weren't supposed to do, and you stop and you go, oh no, yeah, I won't do that. Or you make a different decision. And then the final memory, of course, is that you never did it in the first place. So I hope that helps. Does that answer the question? If you need more, let me know.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. The other thing that I would add is that that the action, that the bullying, the lying, the stealing, or whatever the original action was, is no longer happening. The only place that that is still happening is in your mind.
Right.
So going back and revising the memory and forgiving that part of us, forgiving that little, imagining forgiving the little you in that scenario. Yes. So the people that were involved in that situation may not be around anymore. There may not be any way to physically do anything to make amends, but you can forgive that part of the little you.
Right.
And I was sorry, I was just going to say, and in changing the memory, you're ending up changing the need for any forgiveness in the first place.
Right. Yes. Thank you. And in addition to that, just a reminder of that phrase that I say is that every individual in every moment is trying to feel better. That's all. None of us are doing anything on purpose, even though it looks that way sometimes. Even the bullying is not on purpose. It's trying to feel better. The lying, the stealing, whatever the bad things are, sure, we don't want to do them and we don't want to encourage them, but it's understanding that if the driver behind everything is trying to feel better. And once you get that, then that helps to forgive. The other thing you can do, if you find you still can't do that, you still can't change it the way I've been describing, you can do a due justice. Do a due justice letter to yourself if you need to, and to those who raised you or whoever was part of the, what led to that behavior. So let us know if that's okay or if you need more clarification on that. And Steve, was that all? Okay, so let's do the targeting then. So if you could send me the targets, a list of targets, please. All right, and take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state. Using whatever method you use, start to feel your heart opening, that expansion feeling in your chest as that light shines out from you. And allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. And allow that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each cell just for existing. Very good. And now allow that light or energy to fill your subject exactly as they are. And then imagine they don't want to be with you, or they don't have the qualities that you love and admire, and keep them filled with that light, that energy anyway. Love them anyway, no matter what. Shining that light into any darkness. Very good. And now allow that light, that energy to fill Lisa from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Lisa just for existing. Very good. And now allow that light, that energy to overflow from Lisa and fill her son from the tips of his toes to the top of his head and out to his fingertips. Love Lisa's son, just for existing. And whatever the meeting is, whatever the outcome is, fill it all with light and energy, that same light or energy, that love. Very good. Even if the outcome is not the way you want it, fill it all with that light, shining the light into any darkness. And then allowing that light, that energy to overflow and fill the financial situations, circumstances, and experiences of everyone, exactly as they are, shining light into any darkness, loving it all exactly as it is. Good job. And now over to Monika. Fill Monika with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Monika, just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Monika and fill her granddaughter with that same light, that energy, that love, exactly as she is, whether she's frightened of dogs or not, shining that light into the darkness, loving the fear, loving her, loving the dogs, loving all of the situation, no matter what, whether she's frightened or not, loving it exactly as it is. Good job. And now over to Swasti. Fill Swasti with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Swasti, just for existing. Very good. And over to Katrina. Fill Katrina with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Katrina, just for existing. Good job. And now to Camilla. Fill Camilla with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Camilla, just for existing. And now to Sylvie. Fill Sylvie with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Sylvie, just for existing. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Sylvie and fill her anxiousness about the financial commitment. Love all of that, shining the light into any darkness, loving the anxiety exactly as it is, no matter what. Let's go back to Camilla. Filling Camilla with that same light, that energy, that love, loving her exactly as she is, and allowing that light or energy to overflow and fill the health issue, whatever that health issue is, filling it all with that light, that energy, that love, exactly as it is, whether it changes or not, shining that light into any darkness. Now allowing that light or energy to overflow from you and fill everyone on the call who's off camera. So everyone who's off camera today and everyone who's watching the recording. Love each one just for existing, no matter what. Very good job. And now thinking of yourself later today, whatever you'll be doing, experiencing or feeling, love that version of you. Fill that version of you with that light, that energy, that love, no matter what. Shining light into any darkness, loving it all. Very good. And surge. Very good. And now think of a trigger, something that triggers you, something or someone in your life or in the world, and fill that with the same light, the same energy, shining the light into any darkness, loving it exactly as it is without it needing to change. That's your power. And surge. Very good. And surge again. Good job. And you can open your eyes if you have them closed. And I had forgotten that I received an email this morning that I to read to all of you from Sylvie. She says, this week I work at the time of the calls. I'm sending unconditional love to the whole group. And thank you for my target some sessions ago. I'll have a new car at the end of this summer. She says, I found it yesterday. It's a new one, a new thing for me. I'm still a little bit anxious about the financial commitment, and I know I have more work to do on that, but I did it. So please add me to the targets to soothe the rest of the anxiety. Thank you so much, the whole group. So thank you, everyone, for helping Sylvie with that target. And yeah, just wanted to share that with you. All right, very good. So if there's no other questions or comments, we'll end now and see you tomorrow. Thank you, Odille and Steve. Thank you, everyone. Whenever I come here triggered, I always leave uplifted. Yay, I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you. And thanks, everybody, for your comments and your wonderful presence. And we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Keep practicing. Lots of love to all of you. Bye-bye now.